Good morning. Welcome to the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Randy Smith to give you an update on the double homicide that we are currently working on some detailed information. As you know, on February 15th, we received the last seen couple, friends Reagan Day and Dustin Hartline were last seen in the Pearl River area. They went missing in a 2011 Chevrolet Camaro, blue in color. Family contacted us on February 16th and made a missing persons report. We began immediately looking into this because there was some foul play expected. We got a community-involved search. We included the media and sent out pictures of the missing friends along with the car to try to get community input to locate them. Our major crimes detectives started working this case as soon as we were notified. After receiving several tips and calls that were coming into the sheriff's office about information related to the missing persons, we followed up on some of those tips that led us to a area located off of Browns Village Road where we discovered a possible scene of a crime. From that point forward, working with our detectives along with our search and rescue Marine Division and dive team, we started searching area ponds, waterways, and bayous within a 7-mile radius of that location. During the investigation, we received information that a vehicle that was believed to be in the East Pearl River over off of Highway 90 that may be belonging to the missing subjects. We moved our search efforts over to that area Monday, and around 4 p.m. our dive team was able to locate the vehicle. Once the vehicle was pulled up, we realized that we discovered that there were 2 bodies within that vehicle, identified as Reagan Day and Dustin Hartline. The bodies were therefore turned over to the St. Tammany Parish Coroner's Office for their investigation. We learned during this investigation that this was a carjacking gone bad. These 4 individuals that were arrested for first-degree homicide had planned this, premeditated this, and met these 2 missing individuals on Salmon Street off of Browns Village in the East Morgan subdivision. They had masks on, they used guns, and to steal this 2011 Chevrolet Camaro, they used force. Both these 2 individuals were shot and then put in the vehicle and driven to the boat launch where the car was disposed of. After gaining arrest warrants for the 4 individuals we had as suspects, we utilized the U.S. Marshals Task Force and the Waveland Police Department to locate these individuals who were hiding over in Mississippi. The arrests were made. Also during the investigation, our detectives were able to locate 3 weapons during the investigation, and 2 of those are believed to be the murder weapons on both of our victims. This is a very sad situation, and it's unfortunate that 2 people lost their lives and that 4 others are facing life in prison over a 2011 Chevrolet Camaro. There was a contact between Reagan Day and one of the arrestees, the female arrestee, that had set the meeting up about the vehicle or about them to meet up when this incident took place. I want to thank these detectives who worked tirelessly throughout this investigation and our own search and rescue dive team operators who searched many waterways, many ponds. We want to thank the public for getting involved and helping with this community search so that we could bring this to closure. It's not the ending we hope for, but at least now we can bring closure to the family. Our thoughts and prayers go out to these victims. I'm going to let our coroner, St. Tammany Parish Coroner, Dr. Chuck Preston, update you on the cause of death. Doc?
Thank you, Sheriff. First, I would echo the Sheriff's sentiments that this is a terrible tragedy. These young people that lost their lives, you know, St. Tammany is kind of a big little town. And Miss Day was roughly the age of my youngest daughter, and it turns out that she had a connection to Miss Day through a mutual friend. And so it really kind of underscores the idea that the entire community is touched by tragedy like this. I would also like to congratulate Sheriff Smith and the members of the Major Crimes Unit for the cooperation and assistance that they showed the coroner's office during this investigation. Most of you were probably at that scene, and you understand that it created some difficult logistic problems because of the length of the submersion. And so in consultation with the sheriff, the detectives, and the crime lab, it was elected to move the car with the bodies to the coroner's office to extricate the bodies in an attempt to preserve the most evidence possible. The crime scene was, technicians were very, very good about working with us and processing the car. And that coordinated effort, I think, helped quite a bit to recover as much information as we possibly can. The first victim of this crime, Reagan Day, was a 20-year-old female. She suffered 2 gunshot wounds to the head. One entered in the left posterior part of her skull. A bullet fragment was recovered from that wound. There was a second wound to the front of her skull. A bullet fragment was recovered from the back of the skull. Each of these bullets, the one that entered in the back of her head tracked through to the front, and the one that entered in the front tracked through to the back. And of course, the forces associated with that also resulted in multiple skull fractures. 28-year-old Dustin Hartland suffered a single gunshot wound to the head. The entrance wound was in the back of the head. A bullet was recovered there as well. Because of the length of submersion under the water, the bodies did have a significant amount of decomposition, but we were able to positively identify both victims through very distinctive tattoos that each victim had. Thank you.
Detective and Corporal Hudson was the lead investigator on this case, but he did not do this alone. The incident occurred, the homicides occurred, we believe, on February 15th, and we received the report to start investigating these missing people on the 16th. Again, I want to thank everybody who played a part in this and bring closure to the family. I'll open it up for questions if y'all have any.
Sheriff, do you know why they were meeting up when the woman called the victim? What was the reason for the meetup?
The original meeting was to discuss the vehicle, whether they were going to sell it or make a deal with the car. The victims not knowing that it was a setup to be a robbery. The motive in this case is robbery, and it was for the 2011 car.
Is there a reason why they didn't take the car once they killed it?
No, we don't know that, and it's still an investigation. But yes, it was about the meeting was set up about the vehicle and whether or not it was going to be sold, and wound up being carjacked, and then went downhill from there.
Sheriff, what was the relationship between the victims and the suspects?
The familiarization with Miss Day was with the female that was arrested. Along with that, there was a connection between those two. That was how it was set up for the meeting.
Do we know who fired shots? Like, do we know what role each person may have played?
We do, but we're not going to release that right now.
Where were the bodies found in the vehicle?
The female was found inside the interior of the vehicle, and the male was in the trunk area.
What is the criminal history of the suspects that were arrested?
The suspect, Olivier, has an extensive rap. The other one's very, very minor.
The area where they were meeting, Brown's Village, describe that area. Was it a remote area?
Remote area, there was a vacant residence or trailer in that area, in a wooded area, East Morgan subdivision around Salmon Street off of Brown's Village. That was where the murder took place.
And Savelle had set it up. How had she contacted a telephone day, or do you know?
Can't release that. Sorry.
Were they friends or were they?
Yeah, they were acquaintances, the two females. All right?
What was the relationship between the two victims? Were they friends or were they a couple? Or?
They were friends, according to the family. And that's what we're going with.
Obviously, y'all are law enforcement here. How does this hit you emotionally? This is senseless.
This is tough. These are tough. I mean, from day one, when we got the report, we started working it. We jumped on it right away because the story of them going to Metairie first and then over to Baton Rouge for a doctor's appointment, the relationship between the two being friends, and just when you lose a phone signal, two phones on both victims, each had a phone, and the possibility of installing the vehicle. When you lose that without any trace, without, in today's world and technology, it's not usually a good sign. And that's why we jumped on it quick and we stayed on it until it was solved.
Was the car seen submerged by boaters in the area? Are they the ones that tipped you all off to the location of the vehicle?
We had a tip come in that the vehicle possibly could be located there, among other places. We were checking other bodies of water and ponds within a 7-mile radius of where we believe the murder occurred. And then we got a tip that the car may be in the boat launch area, so that's when we started diverting our search there and was able to locate it.
If y'all have any more questions, you can actually email me. My email is at the bottom of the press release. So feel free to email me your questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. Thank you.